Okay, so we have a Pisces full moon approaching while we are in Virgo season. Pisces is in opposition to Virgo, which would naturally make Pisces Virgo's seventh house, or Virgo's house of partnership, relationship, marriages, contracts, you name it, your friends, whatever. Anybody who is in opposition to you, or who would be in partnership to you, or who would be in reflection to you. The seventh house is naturally ruled by Libra. And Libra has a mirroring effect, an effect on our individual capacity to understand one another. Okay. So in reflection, there's a tendency to mirror and or mimic in attempts to learn that of the opposite individual. But when Pisces is in the seventh house of mirroring effects and or partnerships, there's a tendency to gloss over the details, but also to get the details skewed, to skew the details of what it is that we're not only seeing in ourselves, but most importantly, the other. So this automatically denotes a certain level of obstruction and being able to understand where the other is coming from, while simultaneously trying to reflect upon our own internal position within this dynamic of two. Virgo, the sun in Virgo, naturally is adept at becoming aware of details and the nuances of things that normally go unnoticed in most situations and in most cases. Neptune, being in the sign of Pisces in the seventh house, is causing further illusion and delusion and or the lack of clarity in regards to our partnerships, in regards to our relations, and also in regards to our capacity to be able to even understand the other via an avenue called reflection and or reflection. So the reflection is distorted. Libra is the second house of Virgo here, okay? And this is actually where Mercury is stationed. And Mercury is the ruler of Virgo. So Virgo's focus is more so, again, on the Libra component of what it is that we are experiencing during this full moon. Libra being the other, with an attempt to bring balance to these social situations. But the thing is that there's an individual focus, actually, in regards to our own individual levels of self-worth, and also in the ways in which we criticize ourselves, right? Because in the ways in which we criticize ourselves is in which way, or is in the same way that we criticize others. So the thing with Virgo is that the reason why it's considered so hypercritical is because it has perfectionist tendencies, and it has the tendency to also uphold others to the same standards of perfection, which isn't always realistic in most cases. So Mercury retrograding in Libra is really having us take a look at how we critically view ourselves in our relationship sector. Okay, so for Virgo and for the Pisces moon, and for Libra, so Virgo, Pisces, Libra, simultaneously Aries, as the first house is activated with Virgo sun. It's all about how we hold ourselves up in the eyes of perfection to one another. So it's how are we self-sabotaging, or how are we sabotaging ourselves due to our hypercriticism and our inability to relate fairly with the opposite individual. How is it that we can uphold our own personal standards without forcing those exact standards or needs on the ones that we love, care about, or are trying to relate to? So there's a lot of revision, not only in regards to our self-worth, self-care, and how we communicate that with the other, but there's also a review of how we are actually reflecting our standards, values upon the opposite nature, which could be detrimental to how we are pursuing these relationships and how we are pursuing these partnerships. So, where naturally we'd like to be critical with our partners, in this case, a lot of it is reminiscent of our own shortcomings and how it is that we need to reevaluate what we consider to be valuable within our partnerships, and how it is that we actually communicate that without any true distortion of criticism, for we are lacking clarity in this particular area altogether, and generally, as Pisces is ruling the 7th house of partnerships. So revision and how it is that we choose to communicate within our relational sphere, and how it is that we appoint our criticisms not only upon ourselves but those around us, and really making amends with not only our own perfectionist needs, but again on how we are projecting those needs of perfection onto others, and how that may be the core reason and cause of our miscommunication to begin with. So, yeah, that's what I have for you right now. Talk to you soon. Later.